Hello and welcome to Brody Talk, a podcast dedicated to all the individuals that I have met throughout my years in not only the video game industry, but the restaurant industry and just everyday life. I'm going to be going over my interpretation of all of these amazing people and how they perceive life and get through their daily struggles with a good, positive mentality at the end of the day. I'm your host, Burger Expert Brody, and you're on Brody Talk. All right, so now that we have actually had a chance to sit down, first of all, Nerdyninetales, Mike,
Hello.
if you want to give yourself just a slight introduction.
Yeah, my name's Mike, or aka Nerdyninetales. I've been streaming on Twitch for about 6 years and creating content pretty much most of my adult life, whether it be like YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. So yeah, also have a decent TikTok following to try and help us, get a little more traction on Twitch. But yeah, I am a content creator.
So, and you actually got your, if I'm not mistaken correctly, you actually got your start in the social media world on YouTube doing the name related to the Pokemon reveal, right?
That's like the first foray under the Nerdy Ninetales brand. Yeah, I started a YouTube channel opening up Pokemon cards with my old partner, and it was great. I mean, it was awesome to help kickstart like my hobby into Pokemon collecting as an adult rather than as a child. And just I was able to gain a couple thousand followers on YouTube in the same time, which is great. And then eventually switch over to Twitch. But there's
Nice.
there's some throwbacks to before being named Nerdy9Tails that if you dig deep enough on YouTube you'll find, which are a little embarrassing. So
I have vaguely touched base into a few of those.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I haven't gone too far in, so don't worry. But I have actually seen a few. But
baby.
one thing I will say, which was news to me, and not to be referencing too much of different things, but the previous podcast that you were on, Danny Dorito, I think it was. Um, so I didn't realize your weight loss journey was extensive as it is.
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah.
just wanted to say you look amazing. You look
Thank
great.
you. I unfortunately
Yeah.
I'm on my way back up, but I mean, I guess like from where I
Well,
started, it's still good. And the quarantine 30 doesn't help, but we'll get back on track soon.
that's one thing I wanted. So when the time frame, because I know COVID had just kind of like started. It was the first 4 months. So how have things in relation to what you were talking about dealing with, and how it was going about? Because I know there was a lot going on that you were talking about, currently dealing with, let alone with your wedding, pushing that back, but also mental health related. So kind of like touch base on how you've dealt with all that. Is it getting better? Is it worse? Are you figuring it out? Like how has that whole transition been going? Because it's been, I'm assuming, 5 or 6 more months since then.
Yeah, it's probably about that. I mean, I feel like things are kind of starting to become like normal, like the new norm is setting in. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, like that new norm kind of doesn't like allow me to have the most active lifestyle as I once had before COVID, and
For sure.
falling into some poor habits in terms of just like eating and stuff. But other than that, like there's the good that's come out of it, and having like the extra time and ability to create more content, and it's cool to keep running with that. But yeah, man, it's definitely feels like more of a marathon to get through this, especially
For
mentally,
sure.
to kind of deal with the ups and downs of the feelings that whether are coming directly from the situation we're all in, or more so the like subconsciously happening, and you're not quite sure like why you're feeling certain ways.
100%. Getting stuck in your own head, dealing with things that you don't realize are relevant until it's too late.
Yeah, or just not like you can analyze it looking backwards and going, oh, that's probably why I was feeling that way. But in the moment, you're just like, what the hell is wrong with me?
Yeah. No,
But I
100%.
think most of us can relate.
And that's something that I feel like is the overwhelming truth about this whole pandemic and the last few everything is the overwhelming frustration. But I think the what is lacking on equality around the board is the overwhelming understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And you being science background, it's understanding science, and it's understanding the facts and the proof. And I feel like for you to be in the field that you're in and understanding to a science the actual truth behind it, and whether that's your truth or the actual truth behind, this disease and what's going on, and the reality of it. So how frustrating, obviously, is it knowing that this has been going on for this long and there's been the potential to, I guess, not necessarily fix or negate it, but just to know that it's out of pure ignorance or pity or spite, I should say, that people are refusing to just obey, follow the rules? Because just to give you some context, the um, restaurant industry that we're in, we have people that are blatantly refusing the rules, and it's
Yeah.
it's blatantly refusing while allowing multiple people inside, not wearing masks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very transparent that there are people out there who just don't believe, don't care. So it's like, as a scientist, what do you how do you tackle that? I guess is what I'm saying.
I mean, there's only so much you can do to help like inform the people around you, or at least speak to it in a way that might make sense to them. But you're not going to be able to change everyone's mind, or nor should you always have that intention, right? Maybe your intention should just be to spread the knowledge that and inform people the best way that you can, and then they're going to have to take it from there and go. At least that's kind of been the cadence that I've kind of been following. It's a bit frustrating, but again, I'm personally not one to like force my agenda or opinions onto others. But personally, I think that we can all do a lot more to like just have some compassion or care for the people around us, even if you're not directly getting affected, or your group that you belong to, like your age group, or your your health conditions is maybe not susceptible or asymptomatic. Doesn't mean that you wouldn't come in contact with someone who could have contact with someone else who's not so fortunate.
It's that empathy.
Yeah, exactly. Empathy, compassion. It's lost on a lot of people. And I think there's a lot of like political things around it that might be driving people, but ultimately I just think there's a humanity that needs to be addressed in it. But I mean, for me, again, coming from the scientist,
thereof.
yeah, exactly. And I think for me, as like from the science background, it's just things aren't gonna happen overnight, and there's a lot we could have done better to prevent the spread. But ultimately, it would have had to start at the top down, and it doesn't seem to trickle down well. So
yeah, the message isn't getting transparently received.
exactly.
So one of the things that I actually found pretty curious, just probably the last bit of COVID talk and stuff, just because I know we could probably talk about this forever.
Yeah.
But one of the fascinating things I just learned is the fact that the vaccine, or both vaccines, I should say, are being able to progress so fast is because of the fact that there's unanimous support around the world, and that there's just an unlimited supply of funding. Whereas most vaccines, they take 10, 15 years of funding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whether it's 10, 15, I don't know the quote, but
Right.
it's a substantial amount longer. So I think that's alone something that is overwhelming in terms of like transparency. I feel like if the entire world is abundantly on something, backing something, and behind it, it should be something that trumps doubts, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I agree. It's people have every right to question or feel a certain way about things, but I think they also have the right to go out of their way to gain knowledge on the situation and learn a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, some vaccines development does take quite a long time, because it's maybe more of a bit of a rare disease that they're trying to get a vaccine for, and not many people are interested or invested or this driven to find a cure or a vaccine to this disease, because the money's not there. But obviously all these people are getting funded. It's one of the top demands of the world I imagine right now, not just our nation, but like the whole
Oh, of
world,
course.
right? And the first couple people who do it are gonna cash out, and that's a huge incentive as well. And that incentive doesn't mean that they're
Unfortunately, but yeah.
unfortunately. But again, I don't think that incentive means that anyone's cutting corners or malpracticing. The fact that we can progress so fast is because of people's interest in participating in these studies, people's interest in funding these studies, and the overall need for this as a worldwide need, not just
That is very true.
a small group or a small nation needing this fix, right? So it's hard to see it and go, this usually takes a long time. Why is this so quick? I don't trust it. I guarantee you about half of any population probably wouldn't want to take it. You know?
Mhm.
And again, who in the below 30 age group who are less susceptible to getting harsh symptoms is going to rush to get it unless they're surrounded by a lot of people they could be in contact with that they'd put in jeopardy. So I know they're starting with
Now-
the older crowd first, though.
I did hear the healthcare workers are in the first tier too, right?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
One question you can safe word me if this is something that you're not able to talk about, but being your background between the two vaccines, is there any one that you are more leaning towards being okay with? Are you comfortable with both of them? Would you not, obviously not speaking towards like understanding in each individual one, going into detail, but just kind of like your own personal look on if you're willing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like in terms of just getting as much information as I can, like before I would like agree to getting any of them, I would 100% just totally do as much research as I could on both of them, that if they were both available to me. I know that I'm not entirely sure on who's making both of them. I know Pfizer's one. I forget who the other one is.
Moderna, I think.
Yeah. So if the Moderna one, I believe the Pfizer one was 90% effective, and the Moderna one was like 95% effective. I mean, if I had to choose, I would choose that extra 5%. Personally, 90% is still great.
And I think the Pfizer was a double shot, and the Moderna's a single.
Right, and
which I don't know. I don't know the how.
Right, and the I believe the Moderna one can be stored at negative 20 degrees, which is like a normal freezer, and the Pfizer one requires a minus 80 degree freezer, which is a lot harder for facilities to have and stock. So it's easier also for the Moderna one to get places.
And that's a whole separate chemical fascination that I just had peaked, but I'm not even going to get into that because that alone just doesn't make any damn sense in my head.
Right. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's that's
wild.
the matter of just how you start your trial, you know?
Okay.
If it's validated to work this way and we're this far into our development, we can't really have the luxury of changing this, or we don't have the time to find out if the alternative would work just as well.
Touche. Now, on that note and on that topic, not to like transition, change scenes, but to kind of like reverse, go backpedal to square one, on notes of like changing names or rebranding, the Nerdyninetales that always 100% fit. It's you. You never, like now that we're straight away from the origins, I guess you should say, of the Pokemon openings and stuff. Right. Are we comfortable? Are we Nerdyninetales forever? Because I mean,
I like
I'm okay with it.
I do. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love Pokemon, and Ninetales is my favorite Pokemon. And it's definitely a reference to that. I know there's also a Ninetales in Naruto that gets confused with it all the time, but I haven't seen it, so don't come at me, bro. I'm sorry.
Do you watch any?
I watch some anime, but never watch Naruto.
That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. That's fine though.
I'm not
as
opposed
long as
to
you
it.
like.
I'm not opposed to it. But I mean, I could see myself rebranding. I don't see myself doing it currently. I feel like I would rebrand if I had to. Like if I ever gained traction and Steam and Ninetales was like a licensing nightmare or an issue with any of my branding because it's like I like internal IP or whatever, Um, yeah, that would be it. But I mean, a lot of people just call me nerdy anyway, and it's like, I mean, I'd be
True.
cool just going by nerdy as well.
True.
Again, someone might
I'm
already have that, but you'll figure
It's
it out.
amazing how much stuff is taken out of
Mm-hmm.
just randomness, like Brody, just Brody, and
Mm-hmm.
it's got like 2 followers. I'm sorry, like what?
You're right.
But like the reason why I asked the rebranding is just because I've given that thought. Not that I want, like I've already rebranded. I used to be Brody_TV,
Mm,
and I know you got your start in 2014. You said right.
right.
So I got my start in 2015, so I know we're pretty similar in
Yeah.
terms of that. But I'm impressed that you're still behind the singular and original brand that you had, because
Mm-hmm.
I definitely didn't put enough thought and detail into my original. And
Right.
not that I'm not happy with Burger Expert Brody, because I mean, truthfully, with the origins of why I am who I am, it makes sense. But the only downfall is that I don't have a channel, or I don't have content directly related to the
Mm,
name. So it's like I'm not cooking burgers, I'm not eating burgers. I just have
right.
like a burger scene. So it is a little confusing for that
True.
matter. But
But I also think it kind of like in terms of if we're speaking like gameplay and like gaming, like it kind of opens you up to kind of like not be tied to a niche, right? Like I'm not always playing Pokemon, but some people are kind of like, oh, he's like, why aren't you playing Pokemon? You know, like
you gotta hit me
you know
with
you have the
them
Ninetales in
facts.
your name. Why aren't you playing Pokemon? Or why are you playing so much Destiny? You know. But
This
here I
is
am.
very
Like
true,
literally,
Mike.
that's like all I played at first was Destiny.
This is very true, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? All right, I'm gonna not question myself.
Well, it can
And
go either
then
way, and I
yeah,
think your like rebrand is great, and like I think I put a lot
I
of time
appreciate that.
into my initial name because I wanted to have something that would like stick.
Yeah,
And I like alliterations, like NN. That's great in a Nerdy Ninetales. Like I'm
yeah.
all for it.
I didn't even
Unfortunately,
think about that.
someone has the Twitter tag before I was even like I have it
Really?
everywhere except for Twitter. So I'm Nerdy9 tweets on Twitter, which is you
Oh
know
my.
a little
Okay,
different.
I didn't even notice that.
I know because my name, like if you actually look at the name, not the tag, it says Nerdy9Tales, but
Yeah,
it's all good.
it still works. Nerdy 9 tweets. It's cute. It
Yeah,
works. You know.
yeah, it's a nice little throw.
Yeah.
Throw back to Twitter.
Okay. Reverse 10 steps.
All right.
What anime do you watch?
Um, so I'm like a super like pleb, right? So I'm like, I just watch mostly popular anime, so don't hurt me.
No,
Um,
there's zero judgment. I'm just curious. Like
no, I
for
know.
somebody that's not a big anime, or like the ones that you
So
do admit to watching.
I'd say the first anime I watched that I was like super stoked about was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which was
Okay.
great.
Okay.
I fell in love with Attack on Titan. I just love the art style, and in general, I love
Nice.
Attack on Titan, which again I know is a really popular one. And then
I
more
agree.
recently, friends got me into My Hero Academia, which again popular,
Phenomenal.
but honestly really freaking good. I really like it.
It's really
And
good. It's one of those ones that I agree. I don't understand why people are so. They think it's overhyped. You know,
right,
they gotta like
yeah.
throw shade on it because they think it's like, dude, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I think some people can kind of blur the lines between like maybe one of their favorites not being as popular and then not understanding why this other one is as popular because their
Yeah, I feel
favorite
that.
isn't popular, you know? It doesn't
Yeah,
doesn't
like
mean
everyone
that
needs a
either of them are
participation
bad.
trophy.
Yeah, yeah. So like
Yeah.
again, everyone's got their own, man. So I mean I mean
Did
everyone tells me you need to watch Demon Slayer, you need to watch Hunter x Hunter, you need to watch, you know, Evangelica or even Evangelion. I can't
I
even
mean,
say I'm
these
horrible.
people aren't wrong.
No, I know. And that's why I know these recommendations and they're in my brain. They're in my queue, you
Okay.
know? It's just
I
I
feel it.
don't I like between creating content, like working full-time job and now being married and like having shows I watch with my wife, I don't have a lot of like anime time like to myself. If she enjoyed watching anime, we'd watch it together for sure, you know? And
Touche.
maybe I'll start to get her there, you know?
So what's
But yeah.
what's if you're not watching anime? What's the current go-to between you and Liv? Are you just sitting on the couch? What
Oh,
are you watching?
dude, well, we just finished like Queen's Gambit, which was amazing. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's just a
I
mini
haven't watched
series
it through and
on
through, but I've
Netflix.
seen bits and pieces.
Dude, it's so good. Like all the acting in it is amazing. I've never cared this much about chess in my life, but all of a sudden I'm like let's go. And then like
And you
it's
said it's on
funny.
Netflix, right?
Yeah, and I think I saw a TikTok about it, like the search history or the search for like chessboards or like where to buy, like buying chessboards, like went up like 300% that week or something crazy like that, or like how to
I
play
love
chess.
it.
Yeah, and like honestly, it's that good. Like everyone needs to like run to watch it, I think.
I don't honestly. I've like I said, I've walked in on my mom and dad going and watching the series, and from the moments that I stopped to watch, bits and pieces, it
Hmm.
looked really good.
Yeah, you got to
So,
start
but I
from the
mean,
beginning. It's so good.
oh, of course, of course. Um, TV shows and movies are something that I am. I would say movies specifically because I'm more of like an anime watcher. If I'm sitting down, other than like Supernatural, Supernatural's my OG. Like that's
Ooh,
my
yeah.
love. Yeah, but
That's like the one that got away
I'm
from me.
really
I'm like super
like
into like all these pop culture shows and stuff, and like popular shows, like that have like big fandoms, and like that's the one that I
uh
never took the time to watch that I should
so you
have.
haven't even tried.
I've never tried. I'm sure I'd love it.
Oh
It's like one of those that I'm
oh
sure I would love, but I'm like afraid to start because if I start, I won't stop, kind of a
no,
thing.
yeah. I
Um,
watched like I think 8 or 9 seasons
yeah,
in
and
one
it's been
sitting.
running for so long. Like one of my
Oh,
good
it's like
friends,
12 or 13. No, 14.
yeah, one of my good friends, her and I share like similar taste in shows, and she's like,
Mm.
yeah, you need to watch it. It's my favorite show. And I'm just like, if I start, then I won't stop. I mean, I did that with Game of Thrones, and I caught up like on this insane amount of content in such a short amount of
And then we're
time.
just disappointed.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about that, but we don't have to dive down that rabbit hole if I don't know how many hours we have, but yeah, it's that was wild. But again, I mean, I'm into like lots of shows, man. Like I'm into sitcoms. I love How I Met Your Mother and The Office, like two of my all-time top favorite shows if we're talking like
Nice.
comedies or sitcoms. And
Nice.
trying to think. I mean, dude, Handmaid's still's great, but like that's still running. Um yeah, Game of
I never
Thrones
got
was
into that.
amazing at some point.
I'm big on going to the movies. Like,
Yeah, I missed that.
for example, I would do like when after a work shift, I'd get off, and then the final showing at like 11, I'd go and see a movie by myself, type of deal. So like once or twice a week, depending on what's showing.
Hmm.
But that was like my thing. So like
Yeah,
going to the movie theater, sitting down with popcorn, sitting down with the soda, and actually not having a single soul around you to distract you, and
right.
just getting lost in the big screen. That's my pastime. That's my
Yeah,
happy
it's an
time.
experience. And like
Yeah.
um I really, yeah, I mean I commend you for going and like just doing that, making it part of your routine because that's a really cool one cuz
It's been
yeah,
over
like
a year.
you get to have that like that routine and that full on like experience of just being and seeing the movie probably how it was intended to be seen, right? Like
Oh, it's
as a
great.
cinematic experience as well. And the
The
fact that
only
like
thing
you're not stressed about like being there alone or anything like that. Like there shouldn't be a stigma around that, I believe, with movies, but some
Oh,
people
100%.
do.
No, you're talking to the guy that is the president of that community.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm the type of fucking. I swear to God, this happens to me at least once a month. I'm the type of guy that shows up to a movie theater sitting alone to only have a group of people that I genuinely know that show
Mhm.
up to the movie theater together. They're like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"Well, you
right.
dickheads weren't gonna invite me, so like."
Yeah. But hey,
Oh,
it's a true experience, man. So I mean, I can definitely respect that. I mean, I used to be a film major, so I mean, I have a huge love for film in general, so I think,
how
everyone
many
should
years?
go do that. What?
How many years before you made the switch?
I was like a year and a half in, and then I
Okay.
switched. But my switch was mainly because I got experience in the science field, and my passion was more like film editing and stuff. And I could still do that as like a hobby, and
Mm-hmm.
like do YouTube stuff and do content creation stuff. But also like have a job that's gonna pay my bills, you know.
Touche.
That I do enjoy doing as well. So
Yeah. 100%. Now, so I don't know if you know this about me, but I went to the Academy Art University of San Francisco for 1 year, and I was doing computer animation and video game design. And my dream and goal through high school and basically childhood and why I committed to it was actually doing animation for the cinematics for Blizzard Entertainment.
dude,
And
that's rad.
I learned within that first year of art school that I could really animate, and I had an eye for animating. but I could not work a functionality of a computer to save my life. So
Oh.
there was no way. And then a year and a half after I left, they come out with a creative director degree, and that basically that
Oh.
yeah. So
That would
I'm
have been
not
the
about to go
perfect
back
bill
to.
for you right there.
Oh, well, if honestly, if I would have figured that out, like had they introduced that degree, and I don't regret anything. I don't look back in my past and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I should have, would have, could have." But hindsight being 2020, if they would have had their shit together like a year and a half earlier, and when I went into my counselor's office to change degrees the first time, I would have chose that, and I probably would have fell in love.
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason, and we
Totally.
are where we are because of the path that we took. So I'm not here to say, "Hey, shoulda, coulda, woulda," because I'm happy with where I'm at, and we're progressing.
Good, man. I
Yeah.
mean, I think there's always those like pivotal moments, and like it's great that you went out and tried it too, especially since it's like not around the corner from you. Like you went out to like San Fran, right? I mean, like,
Yeah,
cause
I was a plane flight away.
yeah, yeah. So like that's and one, it's nice that it's like not too far, but still you're like you've flown the coop, right? You've tried to
Mhm.
do you did the whole college experience, and like sometimes it's hard for people to let go of something they know isn't working as well, you
Well, I
know?
made my way back too, so
What?
I'm back at home, so I
Right,
can't.
but
I
what I'm saying is
couldn't.
like sometimes it's harder for people to give up something or admit
True.
like they're too proud like
True.
that they won't like look at the situation they're in and analyze it and go, you know what, this really isn't for me. Um and
I
they might
found
just get
out
stuck doing that and maybe get bad grades and waste money on school, etc., or maybe get stuck in a job they hate, right?
this is a
So,
perfect conversation that bumps us into a reality that is happening in COVID.
yeah.
Okay? There's I mean, let me just do you know any personal couples, meaning married couples that are now forced to be in the same roof for, 24/7 that and I don't want this to get too deep because I'm not trying to get too deep, but this is the reality on why the divorce rates are going up right now. It's because you
Mhm.
have so many people that just settled. So
Yeah.
many people that just basically was like, yeah, this feels right, I guess, and then
Yeah.
never acted on the things that they doubted all along. And now they're stuck in this cycle with somebody they weren't ever meant to be with, and now they're realizing, "Holy shit, I
Yeah.
don't like this person."
Yeah,
You
it's
spend all
tough.
day away from them, and then you come home and you interact for like 2 hours, and now you're together 24 hours, like, of course. You don't know
Right.
this
And
person.
if anything, it's like more of a test of, it's like a test of like a litmus test, or if you're early enough, but I guess if you're already married that long, it's more just like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
uh,
100%.
this is what it's like. And hopefully people would have gone through and figured that out sooner. But ultimately, yes, in some situations, this is some of these people's like first times fully being around that person for like that amount of time, right?
And I feel for these people, but it's a
Totally.
good eye opener. It's a good eye opener.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
also like
I'm
it's a lot, there's a lot to learn from it, right? And like, and if
oh,
it's
of course.
something that they want to make last, or something that important to them, which it should be if it's a marriage, you
Mhm.
know, you have an opportunity to grow and learn and change, not change in a bad way, but change in a way that would be advantageous to your situation.
100%. And my view on love and view on relationships is might be a little skewed or different than most just because my entire life I've based it off of this perfect relationship that I've perceived from the outside looking in on my parents. I
Mm.
mean, my mom and dad have been together for over 35 years, and my single rose on my arm, it signifies the single rose that my dad gave my mom on their first date, and then the single rose he used to ask for her hand in marriage. So
Mm. That's amazing.
their love that they've shown that is possible, the potential is tenfold. It has no bound, it has no limit type of deal. So to see what it should be,
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm not seeing the back end of the work that they do, to see the
Right.
transparent front end and to be able to real time compare that to not just my friendships and relationships that I've been in, but my friends' relationships, and to understand the transparency behind what is like good and what is toxic, it is a blessing in disguise. Because I mean, now I'm sitting here trying to be like, well, if it's not that, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want it, which is
Yeah.
great. but now I'm stuck never experiencing anything because we live in a world where people don't show their true colors, where people don't express what they want, where people are hiding behind social identities. And it's like,
Totally.
I don't know who you are. And now I'm not dating that. Like,
Yeah. Well, it sounds
but
like it's like the perfect like shitstorm for you,
it
and
is
like
a giant shitstorm. And that was
because
what I'm
yeah, like
good.
they set the bar so high and set such a great example for you, which is like beautiful. Like, and that's what I want for my kids, you know, like, and I'm sure what you would want for yours. And you know, like I feel like, yeah, you have your bar set high because of that, but it's also like, unfortunately, just like a little bit of it is a sign of the times too, right? Like
Oh, true.
they met in a different time and they were able
100%.
to, you know, fully have each other and not have distractions and like really learn
100%.
and about that and just like have like the courtship, right? That's what's missing in like today's like culture, you know, and dating culture is the courtship. Like
100%.
there's no courting, and it doesn't matter if the woman or the man is doing the courting either way, really, but like there's no like like you know, like wonder or like mystery. It's always like, oh, I don't have attention for you now, I'm moving on, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Like
it's
let's
the
let this
next best thing.
brew. Let's have that courtship, and I feel like that's, I think people should have that. I feel like it's awesome.
Well, 100%. And I was thinking about, fuck, what was this quote I was thinking of in my head? It's comparison creates like common ground, but ego defeats entire. You know what I mean? Like it's something to, because like you can compare your, and this is like what related to TikTok, and I might be off on a tangent right here, but this, welcome to my brain. Um, the reason why, and I haven't announced this yet, but I'm honestly probably taking a step back from all social media to kind of like help my mental game. But
Mhm.
the reason for it is because of the TikTok grind.
Yeah.
When you look at specifically the TikTok, and I'll go back to your because I want to ask specific questions about you
Yeah.
and Liv
No
and the
worries.
love life and stuff. But um, the specific drain that TikTok has on creating, at least for me personally, and this is how I've viewed it, it's forced me to look at my entirety of my channel and community as kind of this, I need to maintain and I need
Mhm.
to perform, and if
Right.
I don't, I am not capable. And I don't know how else to explain it other than just that.
It's
And
like
the
become a
moment
measure
I
of your
took,
self-worth.
yeah, so it's mind blowing. The 24 hours or 36, like however long I took without posting, I
Mhm.
just ignored posting, and
Yep.
I hit that marker, and I was just like, holy shit, I feel good.
Yeah.
Like it's just weird because like I don't have this daily thing hanging over my head going, post, you gotta post, you gotta post.
Mhm.
Like, so it's how, as somebody that has so much on their table and plate from just specifically your real-time job, and I don't want to say real-time job because Twitch it is very much so a profession and a job, but speaking from the science term and your science background, somebody with that type of job, how do you juggle between the two? Because I'm somebody that prides myself on being damn near a full-time quote unquote Twitch streamer,
Right.
and I am struggling with time, but that's more like,
Mhm.
time management stuff. But I
Yeah.
just I see how much you do, and I try to put myself in your shoes, and I drown every time. So I'm just, hats off.
Thank you. I mean, honestly, I guess the short answer is that I I don't feel like I do a great job of it. So when I set out to do this, like, I mean, again, I've been streaming on Twitch for a long time, so I feel like it's a big part of me. And then balancing a relationship with that as well was difficult since like when Liv and I first started
when did
dating, I
when
wasn't
did you yeah
streaming.
when did you meet?
We met 4 years ago. Next week, actually, in a couple days, it'll be our
Okay,
4 year anniversary. So,
nice.
um, yeah, we met 4 years ago. And I wasn't streaming at the time because I was in school. And when I was in school,
Mhm.
I found it hard to focus and get good grades while really, really wanting to be streaming on Twitch and playing video games and stuff. So I had to take a small break. And during that time, I met Liv. So when we first met, she wasn't used to streamer Mike. She wasn't used to me doing that. But like
I
the
see.
amazing partner she is, she totally respects that I have a hobby and I have something that I'm passionate about and that I want to, keep doing. So one,
Yeah.
working that out with Liv was been great, but two, yeah, balancing out with work and then also making TikTok content, at least currently and recently has started to like add up to the point where I'm not
Yeah,
uploading on TikTok
you're
as
blowing
much.
up on TikTok, right?
Right. I mean, I was doing really well for the first 4 or 5 months. I was posting on there, and then I kind of started slowing down. The algorithm changed a bit, and then I also got a little less motivated to be posting, just because
Mm.
of like real life stuff, and like that marathon of COVID is starting to hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, all the while still working and taking on new responsibilities. So again, it's still weighing on me, but I'm still trying to get my bearings back. Um,
Oh, 100%.
with that routine I used to have, but still I'm still going strong with my Twitch schedule, which is something that I put before the rest of the content creation because I think one, a schedule is important, and two, there's a lot of members of my community that have been around since the beginning, and
Mhm.
honestly, they're my friends now. I love hanging out with them, and
Of
it's
course.
just nice to have that time to look forward to at the end of the day. You know?
And I think that's why it's been so refreshing for me, cuz like you have to understand, like, my positivity, do good, feel good, be good, self-help direction is a newer direction for my channel.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I've, prided myself on trying to learn and get good with, like, separate behind the scenes for a
Right.
while. But as far as like introducing this kind of like I'm going to be the voice of, my story and hopefully helping other people's with this direction, it's all fairly new.
Right.
And I've found that with the TikTok, when I switched channels and switched gears, it was overwhelmingly crushing on my spirit to know that this is now something that I am so passionate about, whether it's bad quality on the production end or whatever, just the topic at hand
Mm-hmm.
is something I'm speaking so passionately about, and the numbers drop. So, and I know it's not a
Right.
numbers game, but when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to something that you're putting your heart and soul and passion behind, and especially when it's new to try to like get the
Yeah.
feet rolling,
Mm-hmm.
it can be super overwhelming when
Yep.
something doesn't take off. But then you post a highlight of a Fall Guys thing and it quadruples what, the
Yeah.
previous thing
And
does. So
honestly,
it's
that's some of the hardest part. At least if I'm speaking like directly about TikTok or I guess content creation, even on Twitch, like, um, it's like there. I feel like the only reward is that you could ever get is just like hard work. Like you're not gonna get rewarded for switching your content. I feel like, especially like I felt the burnout and the grind on TikTok as well. Even like my normal stuff that I make on TikTok, when it doesn't perform, I get super discouraged, right? And like
mhm.
that's the thing, like especially with your movement and what you're doing, getting discouraged can't really be a part of the equation, right? Like it
Can't.
doesn't it
It
doesn't fit
can't.
it doesn't fit, you know, what you're trying to build. And
It
so
literally doesn't make sense, and
it's
that's where
it's
I'm so.
hard because I agree, and honestly, and I don't know if this is like a bigger agenda or suppression or anything, but I also made a month or two back, I think this is when I first started like noticing this stuff, or like when I first took it personally. I made it like what I thought was like a really great and positive like message TikTok, right?
Mhm.
And it was like my worst performing TikTok I've ever posted. And
I
I put a
hate
lot
it,
of time
dude.
and effort into editing it on like Premiere Pro. It was about
Yeah.
like starting on Twitch and looking back at like how Tim the Tatman started versus how I started. So obviously like the
I
trending
think I remember that
material,
actually.
yeah, like the trending material is there. And it was a great
Uh-huh.
message, and it was a message to myself, truly. So like
Mhm.
I also had to learn the lesson that like, and look back at myself and go, okay, did I post that message just for views? Is that why I'm upset that it didn't perform? Because I knew it should have. But I also think I
That's a
was just
good way to
upset
look
because I
at it.
was so proud to be talking about that message and so
That's a
proud to
good way
have
to
learned
look
that
at it.
lesson myself, that I wanted others to know it. And the fact that that's getting suppressed and people aren't seeing that message I'm trying to post, that I did try to post twice and didn't perform twice.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, what did I do wrong? You know?
And that's ideally identically where we're feeling, and it's
Yeah.
where it's coming down to what you said earlier. It helps when you are actually making these for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because
You
all
have to
in
do
all
it for yourself.
reality, yeah, of course, in all reality, if is I love and this is part of the reason why I want to get into doing podcasts and I want to get into like doing some form of this because I love helping people. I love
Yeah.
talking to people, and like even if I don't daily practice what I preach,
Mm-hmm.
by preaching what I should practice, I know it's going to kick myself in the ass to continue to
Totally.
tenfold practice it. So
Oh, absolutely.
it's definitely a helper in my own, as greedy as that might sound. I would love to listen and learn about everyone, but I'd also love to reinforce my own
Yeah.
through helping others. Um,
Totally.
but that's a completely separate story because, yeah.
Well, I mean, like you said, I mean, it really is just like what can you be doing to better yourself, and if that also is like preaching a
Daily.
message that you believe in, that you want to subscribe to, then that's just part of the process, you know. And at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. No one else does, you know, like all that stuff. Like at the end of the day, you're the person looking back at you in the mirror, and no one else is. So
Of course. And I'm gonna ping pong again real quick because I do want to touch base on that 499 value
oh
topic.
yeah.
But before I do that, the relationship you have with your now wife,
Woo, we did it.
congratulations. I should have started the podcast off honestly with a congratulations
Oh no,
because I
it's all
know that
good.
just
It's
that
almost
just
been
happened.
3 weeks. That's old news
You
now.
know, you're still within a month. Okay,
True,
we can.
true. Yeah, we have our month anniversary
Congratulations.
right before Christmas. It'll be awesome.
So my question for the relationship part, and I know you touched base on saying having a partner that is supportive. So I know she's helped you a lot with streaming and getting through it. But as far as the quote unquote like work
Mm-hmm.
behind the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
have in comparison to previous relationships, and I'm just assuming that you've had something to previously base it off of,
Uh-huh.
when it comes to what you would consider work with
Uh-huh.
Liv, does it ever truly feel like work?
Um I
If that makes
so
sense.
yeah, no, it makes sense. I think like I can approach it in two different ways because one, like there is no like facade, like it is work. Like relationships are work, and anything worth like having is worth fighting for, right? So like
Yeah.
there is work, and there's definitely like a lot of things to learn and grow from. Um like is it like sorry, what your question was, is it worth the work or
No, just would you consider the quote unquote work that you're doing or have done with Liv in comparison to work that you've done in the past? Because like they always say, like if you truly love it, it's not work. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And like when I talk to my parents and they say they've had to do a lot of work, and I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
well, have you ever looked at it as work? They're like,
Right.
well, no, because it doesn't
Right.
like feel like
And that's kind of like what I was, yeah, that's, you know, to get back on track with what I was thinking, is yeah, like it is work, but it does not feel like work because like it's second nature for me to be like, oh, like you know, if some, like I'm also a fixer, but like if
Okay.
something's like not working, or if something is needs to be addressed, like I'm not.
You address it when you see it.
Right. I try to, at least. And
Yeah.
like that's not always my partner's way of doing things. And so I also respect that, you know, my way is to look at what we just like what just happened. Let's talk about it. How can we avoid this next time? And
Mhm.
sometimes what she needs and what's best for her and ultimately best for us is if she needs to sit for a second and have a second to herself,
Process.
digest and process, and then we can talk about it, you know? And that's okay.
Mhm.
I respect that. And I've learned a tremendous amount of patience. And
Transparency.
yeah, and honestly, like, again, it really does not feel like work. It feels like this is like, why wouldn't I take care of this thing I love?
And
You know,
I'm
like,
not trying to load you up for something in the future for her listening to this. I definitely have a direction to prove a point with this
oh
too. By the
no.
way, I'm
And
not trying to
honestly,
get
like,
you in trouble.
and honestly, like, I mean, just harping back to like our wedding, you even, our wedding song was like our first dance song was "Grow as You Go" by Ben Platt, and he's amazing, and everyone should go listen to that
Nice,
song. But that song's
nice.
message is like that, like, you know, if you feel like you have to change, like, you don't have to go do it on your own. Like, we can grow as we go, like together. Like, we grow
That's cool.
as we like go through life together, and like that's honestly, it's beautiful.
That's
I can
cool.
cry right now, but you know, and that's just honestly, that's us. Like, we
Yeah.
both learned a lot from each other, and we've worked to you know, just really adjust to the lifestyle we want to have.
100%. Um, so with the reason I bring up that whole work thing is because I truly feel like when I've seen you guys interact on stream, when I've seen you talk about her and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
when I relate it to my parents' relationship, I mean these are perfect examples of people that are in the right relationship,
Oh.
because the work that everyone says is required in relationships, this is the misunderstanding that people don't always get. They don't always understand. They view work as work,
Mm-hmm.
meaning any sort of hardship and any sort of discomfort, any sort of issue or red flag, they have to work through it. And that is something that is just required in a relationship. And I'm the type of guy that if I'm seeing red flags on date one,
Right.
that's not something that's why is that a conversation or something that I need to have to
Yeah.
change somebody? You know what I mean? So
Totally.
it's the transparency behind once you find somebody, and believe me, you're gonna get farther than date 1, 2, or 3 before you start seeing these red flags with that somebody. It's understanding that the work that you now have to put in is no longer work in
Mm-hmm.
that understanding. So I guess that's what I'm saying is hats off, congratulations on the
Thank you, man. And
finding your
honestly,
soulmate.
the fact that you would even compare me in like the same realm of your parents is already an honor. So I appreciate that, man. And
You could tell a lot by how somebody talks about their partner and interacts. So I mean, it's
thank you, man.
speaks volumes enough. So
Thank
now
you.
just
Yeah.
don't prove me wrong. I'm knocking on wood and shit. I don't want like 20 years down the road,
No, no. I mean,
freaking
that's
I
not us,
jinxed it or
man.
some shit.
Yeah, no. I mean,
um,
yeah, Liv and I take it all very seriously, and we would not have made this commitment to each other if we weren't ready, you know.
well,
So
I'm happy for you guys.
thank you so much, man.
So now to peel my way back, I'm like drifting all over the place. Just keep up with me, I
Hey,
swear.
man, we're doing it.
The John C. Stout Bad Bear Gaming,
Mhm.
that podcast that they did, I did not listen to it full through and through, but the TikTok they made specifically about your content being the $4.99 value of a sub. So
Mhm.
if you were to look at yourself, step back and take a look at your Twitch streams, your content, everything that you're putting out, are you really worth that $4.99 value? And I
Mhm.
remember personally taking it. This was probably a month or I don't know when I saw the TikTok, but I remember legitimately going like, why have I never looked at it like that?
Right.
Because like realistically, the answer is yes. Like,
Mhm.
and for most people, it's overbearingly yes,
Right.
just based off of the time frame sitting in front of a computer and engagement factor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like for those small streamers who are only doing like 6 hours a week or
Right.
10 hours a week and trying to grow, it's a very valid question. Because I'm you're talking to somebody that was putting in 270 hours, and
Yeah.
I focused more on building like
Mhm.
singular like TikTok type of deal and like content on TikTok, and I wasn't enjoying who I was
Right. Right.
behind the camera and actually on my streams. Like I was getting tired, I was cutting stream early, and I'm to the point where I'm like I need to take a
Mhm.
step back, and that's what we're looking at now is my step back and
Yeah.
reassessment. So I'm kind of like getting back into it. But the question, I guess, after this long spiel is,
Interesting.
in
Yeah.
your mind, do you feel like you are bringing the value, or do you feel
Mm.
like you're bringing more value, or how would you compare yourself to this quote unquote sub
Right.
value of 4.99?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. Right. I mean, honestly, I think that's such a great question and like a great thing that everyone should ask themselves because
Are
um
you talking just
like
TikTok
it's
or
a
all
good
around?
reflection and it's a good like way
Okay,
to like
gotcha.
quality check yourself as you progress through like your content creation journey because um if honestly, if you would have asked me this 4 months ago, I would 100 no would undoubtedly say yes. But I'd
Mm-hmm.
say currently and right now, I feel a bit
Mm-hmm.
burnt out and a bit lost, and I
Mm-hmm.
wish I didn't, and I wish that wasn't true. But I have a lot of like things going on in real life
Of
that
course.
unfortunately have to take a priority. I'm talking streaming. I'm talking like Twitch, but ultimately also a little bit of TikTok. But um, you know, like my lifestyle and how I live and how I make my living doesn't
As
allow for me to
everything
go
everyone
live
should be.
until
That's a Twitch
roughly
streamer,
9
right?
p.m. most nights. And if you're on the East Coast, you're missing my streams. You're sleeping because most audiences are a little younger, right? And if you're on the West Coast, it's still pretty freaking late for that age group. And like that's fine. That is what it is. But ultimately, I believe that when I started making TikToks, my goal with TikTok has always and like the
Golf
forefront
clapping,
of
because
it
that
been
is great.
bringing people, funneling
I
them
said I'm
to my
golf
Twitch
clapping
stream,
because that is a
right?
great point. Not to interrupt you.
And right, and I totally agree because I also like discoverability on Twitch is horrible, and honestly, I subscribe to the mindset that like if you are trying to stream 5-6 days a week, you should cut out 1 or 2 of those days and devote it solely to content creation that lives off of Twitch that can get people to your Twitch, because I feel like that's where you're gonna start to see the most growth. And that's what I started doing with TikTok. I started getting a lot more viewers. It was the perfect time. What was that? Yeah, right. Because like I mean, and the fact is, like, when I first started doing that, it was going into summer. COVID had just hit. Everyone's got an abundance of free time. Um, TikTok was still blowing up. The algorithm was very favorable. I was able to grow a good community. I got some awesome people in from TikTok. I still had a fire under my ass to be super creative with TikTok. And it showed. My stream started getting more attention. I started having people in here. I would be sitting down and thinking about how I can make my stream better. And it seems like lately I either hit a burnout or I
Mods are a
lost the
completely separate
bandwidth
topic.
to
Amazing
be
individuals.
thinking about that while at work, or be thinking about
Yeah.
that, my drive home. Maybe other stressors are there, or maybe again the
course.
fire is just dull. And like, I mean, it sucks to say that. Like, I'm not super happy about that. I'm still happy to have grown any sort of community, and I'm super happy to have the nerds to hang out with like every night, and to have met the awesome people I've met like through streaming, like you, or like
Mhm.
like my mods or anyone, like
Challenge
those like
yourself.
those relationships are always gonna be treasured. I mean, yeah, but I mean in general, like like I'm happy to have built that community and
And
those
that's ideally that's
friendships
my
and
hope.
those
And
networks,
that's
but
kind of like why I
ultimately
want to do
friendships,
this and do directions like
um
this, is
and
vice versa, both
like I'm
ways.
proud
Because
of all
I'm
that,
not
and I
gonna
don't
lie,
want to lose it, and I'm
I
so
mean, now
happy
that
to
I've
still
talked to
stream.
you
But
about this,
yeah, I guess
I
a
relate
roundabout way
to
to answer
you
your question is like
wholeheartedly. I
currently
would be
I feel like
completely
if I looked
lying
at
to you
my
if I said
content
I
right
hadn't been
now,
going through the
I would
biggest
I would
struggle of my
question whether or not
28
I'm
years
worth
of
that
life,
4.99, and I think that's
emotionally
okay
and
for me to
mentally,
say,
in the
because I
last
think it's
year.
okay to check yourself on that.
So
Yeah,
to
absolutely. And
be
so,
behind a
maybe I'll even leave this
screen,
conversation just like having
but
that
to
resonate with me a little
also
bit more.
have the
And
transparency and
yeah, absolutely.
balls to just literally stand behind it, and
Yeah.
then to find people that relate. But on top of relating are people that you
Mm-hmm.
can resonate with. So it's much more than just a relatable topic. These are people that like you genuinely feel
Right.
comfortable around, genuinely
Right.
enjoy building and growing with. So what I can say is I'm happy and I'm thankful that I was introduced to your community, and I know it was a very random roundabout way through, I'm pretty sure, TikTok. But I think it was
Mm-hmm.
like through some small community I ended up finding you, and I remember clicking with you pretty damn quick. But it was funny, I've never told you this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've never told you this, but the day that I went into your Discord, and it was only like the second or third
Yeah.
time I'd been in your Discord, and you were just like, "Dude, let me just give you this because you're a family and friend anyway, so you can just come in." The day you gave me that mod status to be able to go back in,
Yeah, most
that was a
likely.
very, very, very low part of my time in the last few months, and I just want to say thank you for making me feel a part of something,
Yeah,
because
I
it
think we play a lot of
truly,
similar
and not
games
to like
too.
take away from the community that I'm building, because like I love my community, I love the people that I've met, but I do not do enough with my community, and it's partly because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm spreading myself so thin across so many other networked communities. but I truly feel like I found a home at your community, and I wanted to say thank you. So appreciate you and yours.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Dude, of course, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
Right. Well, thank you, man. Like honestly, like I'm so happy that that we have like connected
That's
in
my
that
next
level too.
topic.
And again, like yeah, no, I mean totally remember what you're talking about too, because like, you know, we had been connecting more often, and I'm just like, well, you know, like I'm not
How
gonna keep
many
dragging this
do you
guy into our
realistically
channel, dude.
juggle?
He should obviously like feel free to let himself in, you know. And it's like, you know,
Yeah.
like we're friends, you know. So you know, it's honestly it's great, and I'm happy that that you could feel a part of the community, because I also feel like,
I
especially as
feel
two different
I
content
and this
creators,
is my
um
fault for
like it's
allowing
hard to
myself to
be a
feel
part
this
of
way
every
because in
content creator's
reality, a
community that
true
you want to.
content
You know what I'm
creator
saying? Like there's a million
understands what
content
you're
creators that I
doing.
vibe with that I would love
So
to
like
just be
if
like
you
fully
come into my
fledged in their
channel and say,
community,
"Yo,
and
what's
I'm
up,
sure
man? Hope
they
you're doing
feel
well. Have a great
similarly,
stream."
right?
That
Yeah, exactly. I'm
alone
sure they feel
would
similar, and it's
mean
just not realistic. You
10
know, you can
times
still have that
more than if
professional
you were
like,
to
hey,
half-ass
I
come in
see
and be
they're
like,
live,
"Oh,
I'm gonna go
sup,"
raid them
and then
because I
I
respect them
reply
and
to
I
you,
love
and
their
then 20 minutes
content.
later,
But
"Oh, sup,"
unfortunately, I
I
can't be
you know
in
what I
their
mean?
Discord every day
Like if you
chatting
were
it
just to
up,
be
you
like,
know,
"Yo,
or
I'm here,
whatever.
I'm lurking," like whatever, like that goes, and I don't think people understand that because I get that you probably got 10 people on lurk. I get that you're probably trying to freaking,
Mm-hmm.
say hi to
Yeah.
15 different communities before you start your live community. But what no one ever really warns you for
Right.
is when you don't have the structure set up, you are only
Yeah.
100% of you, right? So you have
Totally.
100%
Mm-hmm.
value to give out to the world. Now let's just assume that you're giving a piece of yourself to every little community you can go to. Okay? You can only juggle for
Right.
so long. You can only do so much depending on how much value you're putting into each one of those communities.
Right.
That's exactly how much is left for your own community. And that's where I'm struggling with right now is like, I mean, I sub to
Mm.
over $100 worth of people each month.
Right.
I have to take a step back because I'm like, I I just can't afford that. I would love to.
Well, and you still have to foster your own community and give to that. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's getting people
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah. I've been
understand
there, dude. I feel that.
that the
Yep. Mm-hmm.
process is a process. So it's
When you have to
like
question,
I don't
like you have to question
mean
like the motive as
any
well. Not
less
that
of
it's
you because I've had a
any ulterior
lot of
motive. Like
content
I'm sure you
creators get
like
salty.
you'd
I've had a
love to
lot of
support
content
however you can
creators
these
get
people, but
upset
sometimes like
because I'm like,
tossing
I
a
pop in, I
sub
say
is
hi,
generous
I
and
say what's
nice. It's
up,
a
and
nice
then
sentiment,
I'm
but like
gone.
ultimately,
And
like
but I'm hearing, like
sometimes
I
that
can hear, I
replaces
can
the
listen.
time that
They're
you
like,
could be
"Oh,
spending
well,
with
he's
them
gone
because you
again."
wish you
It's like,
could. Stuff like that,
bruh,
you know.
like I'm trying, dude. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%. One sec, sorry.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think there's some people who get it and some people who don't, right? Like I know that like the content creators that I've played with and connected with before, maybe even only once, like I could pop into their stream and I would be greeted like wholeheartedly, right? And that's great. I love that. And I would greet them the same, right? And like and there's always a difference too. Like I mean, like even with you, like you came into my stream and like you'd chat for a little bit and then you'd just like lurk or you just have it open in the background, which is dope, and then you'd keep doing that and I kept noticing you're in there and I'm like, oh, like Brody's in here, like balls
100%.
of
And yeah,
being a
and
part of
I
the
don't want to
community.
sound like I'm throwing like shade or stuff on people that do that, but I will I will throw a little bit of discomfort towards people who are like newer to the community, you know, within like a year or 2 years type of newer, and almost demand or
Mm-hmm.
expect or force the mentality of like, you know, I need the views, you know, come view or stuff like that, and then
Right.
toxic.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. And again, I think that's like where some content creators either just don't get it, or they are there's just like a
Mm-hmm.
disconnect somehow, you know? And maybe they just need to like ask themselves why they're creating content in the first place, and rather than like, you know, like, are you doing this because you're having fun, or are you like guilting your viewers into doing anything? It doesn't seem like the play
And
to
I
me,
think a
bro.
lot of these viewers, not to like, because I'm not putting faces to any one of these names that I'm saying, but
Yeah.
these TikTok and COVID streamers, you know, like the people that have blown
Mm-hmm.
up on TikTok, so then they gain a massive following, or the
Right,
people that
right.
started streaming because of COVID and are expecting, you know, next month numbers type of deal. So it's just the
Yeah.
reality and realization. And I remember having a conversation with a few people when I got affiliate back in May, and I remember saying
Mm-hmm.
specifically, I'm like, just watch, because there was a lot of people that had just started streaming that got affiliate with me. Keep in mind, you know, I started back in
Oh,
2015, so I remember had 3 or 4
right.
different people. I said, you have like 10 streamers right now in your little community you have. I said, you might have 3 or 4 in the next 6 months. So just watch. Like, you're gonna
Right.
get these people that
Mm-hmm.
die out, whether it's, you know, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And that's just reality. That's not, you know, speaking towards any one, two
Totally.
thing. It's just, you know,
I mean, honestly, it's just like the changing of the
mm-hmm,
tides, right?
mm-hmm,
And like, if for someone who's been doing it as long as I have and as long as you have, like even like COVID or not, like those types of things happen,
100%.
right? People start streaming, they build a small community, they try and keep it up. Maybe it doesn't get where they want it to be, or maybe they don't have the bandwidth to continue to do what they
Mm-hmm.
were doing, right? And then it's almost just feels like they fall off the face of the earth, and you're like, oh, and then you see them again. Like that's recently happened with me. Like I was a mod in a stream of someone I loved watching, and she played a lot of Destiny, and she's super cool. And she recently just came back, and I saw her playing Valorant, and she was just like live. And I'm like, oh, like I have no idea what happened
Mm-hmm.
to this person, but like super stoked to see her back online. Like it's,
Yeah,
you know, it's like sometimes those like the waves will come,
of
and
course.
again, I don't think, especially if it's networking with another content creator, and I don't think it should ever be taken
No, of
personally.
course. Of course. So I got something that might um be a deep seated question, especially considering how long you've been streaming. Um, do you have
Bring it.
one original goal that stands out, whether it's has yet to be achieved or whether it's already been achieved, like your kind of first original goal that you set out?
Well, honestly, I mean, it's gonna sound like cheesy a little bit, but I mean, it's like I guess a couple goals, but my first original goal was honestly just like a
Mm-hmm.
community. Like, I think that's been the forefront of like what I do for a long time. Is just like, I want a cool community of people I can hang
Mm-hmm.
out with, or like at least a cool place that we can vibe out,
Oh,
you know?
100%.
And like, I have that currently, and you know, like whether it gets bigger or smaller, it is what it is. And I'm happy and proud to call it my own. When I first started streaming, it was 2014. Affiliate wasn't a
Yeah. No.
thing, right? So like the goal was
Uh-huh.
partner, you
And it
know, like
was
that
what
was the goal.
75 or 25? 25. It was
I mean, at
25.
that point, there was no clear path to partner back then. You know, it was maybe you should hit 100 viewers
Okay.
first, or a certain amount of
Yeah, because when I
followers,
started, there
and
was the
then you can
25
throw your
average.
application in.
So that must have been that
Yeah.
first year they figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. So like again, like there was no clear path at all when I first started. So it was like it is what it is. And I was like, okay, cool. Like you're kind of monitoring
Mm-hmm.
things. You're like, okay, I'm in the Destiny community, and I see this person just got partner, and their average seems to be about like 75, 60 viewers. So like maybe if I hit that mark, maybe I can apply, or maybe I'll start
That's
asking
funny.
people like when do they think I should
So were
apply,
you like a
stuff like that.
Justin.tv streamer?
No, not at
Okay, because I
all.
have some
No.
footage on Justin.tv with me and a buddy playing,
Oh
yeah, playing
really?
Shadow Priest. Yeah,
Oh my
it's pretty
gosh.
funny.
Yeah, no, I wasn't that savvy. It was like friends brought it to my attention.
I
And they're
wish,
like, hey,
dude.
you should do this. Like, you have the personality, and you're obviously playing a lot of games right now. And I'm like, okay,
I
cool.
was sitting on like a
Um,
freaking Alienware compute desktop that was capable of, rendering full on projects and stuff, and I was not
mm-hmm.
utilizing. So that was a bummer. I
Right.
should have done that for sure. But I am
Dang.
very, very,
Right.
very happy that I'm still in the video game industry because my whole life I wanted to be in the cartoon or video game industry. But I'm very happy that I
Totally.
actually am some form or another still in the community. Um, but I know you have to be winding down pretty quick because you are going to be actually starting your actual stream.
Yeah, no
But
worries.
one final thing, I kind of want to make this a trend. Due to the actual name, how would your ideal burger be prepared?
Ooh,
If a
okay.
burger, it could be
Well,
turkey, chicken, whatever. Just you know,
I mean, I mean, honestly, just an 80-20 burger is
okay,
fine. You don't need bells and whistles on the burger. Salt and pepper
okay.
is amazing. Maybe some butter towards the end, but honestly, like if I'm constructing it, it's like toasted bun,
Which type of
right?
bun?
You need mayo and ketchup combo, like a Thousand Island, but like honestly, just mixing mayo and ketchup. I use Kewpie mayo, which is like a
Okay.
Japanese mayo,
What
and
type of
it's
bun do you use?
superb. Like a brioche,
Okay.
dude. Like a nice
You're off
brioche.
to a great start.
Let me, yeah. And then I like sometimes if I'm feeling wild, some grilled mushrooms are good. Um, I mean, honestly, I'll throw Colby Jack cheese
Okay.
on mine, but give me some American cheese. Give me some like, cheddar, some mozzarella. I'll take it.
And how do we have it cooked?
Avocado. I mean, honestly, as long as it's not overdone, probably just medium, medium
Okay.
well. Between medium and medium well is where I'd
Okay.
sit.
Are you a fixings type of guy? Lettuce, onions, pickles, tomatoes.
I mean, so I'm the problem with that is I'm picky. So
Hey, pickiness is not a bad
I
thing.
I hate onions, like raw onions. And if I had a choice of having grilled onions in my burger, I would choose not to. But they're not
Gotcha.
bad. And tomatoes I don't like either, even though I'm Italian and I love tomato sauce. But
Nice.
that's a different story.
Okay.
So my fixings would be mushrooms, avocado, lettuce, and then my mayo and ketchup combo, toasted bun. Throw some like let's just say Colby Jack cheese on
I
there.
like it.
That sounds like yeah,
I
that's
like
me.
it. Now, I had to throw another one in there, but road
Oh,
trip.
and also an egg.
What's your road trip burger?
Road trip burger and Liv and I always
Alright,
go to In
good.
and Out.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't want to like I'm not starting a war
you're
here,
good,
right?
dude. That's
Listen to
mine
me,
too.
okay? So no. Like I want to just say In and Out is not my favorite burger by any means, right? And I also think it's overhyped. I'm from Southern California. It's 100%, in my opinion, overhyped. It's a good burger, right? And I think it's like the quintessential road trip burger because one, In and Out's meant to be eaten in your car, right? Perfect. I prefer Five Guys
I
if I'm
was
just like
about to
going
cut
out.
you off and say, if you fucking say Five Guys over In and Out, we're fighting, bro. It's just, oh,
I prefer Five Guys, dude. That's just
I
me,
can't fucking talk to
I-
you right now, bro. If
bro.
Five Guys is
okay,
a
dude. Okay,
pawn
where-
off of In and Out. The color scheme to like everything about it, it looks like In and Out.
No, not even, bro. Not even. You can customize shit
But
at Five Guys. In and Out's like, yo, we have we got this burger and we got this burger. You take it or you leave it. And then fucking Five Guys is like, bro, like literally, here's a list of all the shit you
give
can
it
put
to you
on
in
your
a brown
burger.
bag
Yeah, you
and
want
say,
us to
get
make
the
you
fuck out of my restaurant.
a greasy ass brown bag that is fucking just like
I can't,
literally a
dude.
glimpse into
I'm
your
sweating
amazing
right
future.
now,
Are
bro.
you kidding me?
got me fucked
Bro,
up. dude.
have you tried their Cajun fries,
I've
bro?
only
Are
had
you kidding
five.
me?
You know who you're talking to, okay? I had one
Bro, I
experience
mean-
with Five Guys, and that was it. That's it. I was coming off of an
What
In
did
and Out.
you eat? What was your experience?
I went in there. Okay, you have to understand. I rate shit off of the experience.
No, I get it.
right? So it's not just like,
But
ooh,
I mean,
good burger.
but like you asked about the
Yeah,
burger.
no, I know,
bro.
I know.
I
know.
understand Five Guys.
I know.
Like you have the peanuts, and I don't know how you don't like that part of the experience. But
I like
way.
the experience of sitting down, talking to a face, enjoying food. Like if you're just doing the quality of the food, then I wouldn't even say that the quality of food was great. But just based off
Right. I
of the
mean,
fact
yeah.
that I didn't get to eat it displayed there, I had to pull it out of a bag because, like, when I eat it In-N-Out, I get it designed to be eaten in the car out of the box. To
Right,
go
right, right.
food, and this is coming from somebody who owns a restaurant, and I
Mhm,
very
mhm.
rarely eat my own to go food at my own restaurant. To go
Mhm.
food does not taste the same. It's not as good. Period. Doesn't matter where you're going, what restaurant, what it is. If you sit
Mm.
down in front with a hot food and you get to talk to a chef like sushi, that experience is
Right.
120% better than if you were going to be at home reheating something, my opinion.
I mean, that's a fair point.
But
That's a fair point, and it's something I haven't
it's
considered.
it's it's very difficult in today's world with COVID. So maybe this is
Right.
something that can
But
be related till after.
I mean, honestly, if I'm being honest though, like everyone should go find their best local non-chain burger because they exist and they're probably amazing.
Brody's
Like,
Burgers and Beer.
you know,
San Diego,
right, right.
California.
And that's not even like an ad read, bro. I swear to God. But like, like yeah, whether it's like a Brody's or a
Yep.
whatever or a different place, like there's for instance in like Long Beach close to me, there's this like one of my favorite coffee shops sells burgers every Thursday and Saturday,
cool.
and it's a pop-up. This guy brings all his burger stuff, and it's called hamburgers
And
are
he
nice.
does it till he
And
sells out,
his
huh?
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. And he takes pre-orders on them. You have to order it
He
the night
probably
before. He
kills it,
prepares it
dude.
for a pickup time. And honestly, they are phenomenal.
Probably kills it.
Better than any burger you can go drive
Oh,
through
I
and
bet.
grab. And so like that's what I'm saying. Like everyone's like, go, whether it's your favorite food or not, like literally just find your favorite food and find it locally, whether it's Thai food, Italian food, a burger, a hot dog, or
support them.
whatever. And like it's there. It's there.
100%.
And it's better.
100%.
For
Home
sure.
cooking. It's legit home cooking.
Yeah. It's passion.
Exactly. All right. Well, this has been. I knew we would get to this marker because truly, I feel like I could continue talking to you forever. I do apologize that
we'll have to have a part two at some point.
100%. Like I said, I do
Yeah.
apologize. There was one little mishap, but hopefully that can be figured out and
Yeah.
edited. But I
Yeah.
cannot thank you enough. I appreciate the hospitality. I appreciate the community. And I appreciate the openness and willingness. So thank you for experimenting with me on
Dude,
my very
thank you.
first ever attempt.
Thanks for the honor, man. It's been a pleasure, and I'm happy to do it. And yeah, it's always time flies when we're chatting, so it's perfect.
It does indeed. Perfect. Well, I'm going to be heading my way. I'll let you head your way. Have an incredible stream tonight, man. And I'm sure you're going to be seeing me in your stream.
Thank you.
Cheering you on.
Awesome, man. I appreciate
man.
it. I'll
All right,
catch you
cheers,
later.
Mike.